This session is regarding Standard English. First of all, Standard English is the language that we use in the professional setting when we're in our office, when we're working with our clients or customers or patients. Standard English is the English that one is assumed to have when we're intelligent. Now, non-standard English is different. It's a more casual type of language. It's the language we use with our family and our friends. It's not perfectly grammatically correct. Everyone uses non-standard English at some time. The goal of this session is for us to consider to learn standard English as that English that we'll use in the office. First of all, standard English uses standard verbs instead of some verbs that we make up or we substitute for the appropriate one. Instead, we're to use standard verbs. And standard verbs are made up of regular verbs and irregular verbs. During this talk, we'll discuss the regular verbs. Verbs have parts, forms, the way they look, and there are four of them, four principal parts, including the present, the past participle, and the present participle. Now, what can be confusing here is that these are forms of the verb, the way we spell the verb, but we're not talking about time right now. Right now, we're just talking about the way we spell those verbs. They're the parts that we use to build verb tenses and to show time. Now, let's consider the different forms of the verb to plan. Today I plan the lesson. Yesterday I planned the lesson. In the past I have planned the lesson. In the future I will be planning the lesson. Now, each of those forms helps us tell the listener what time this is happening. I use the present plan to say that it's happening right now. I use the past planned to say it happened before. Notice that the word planned with the word have in front of it is a past participle. The past participle always has a helping verb. And notice that the present participle always has a helping verb in front of it. Now, most verbs in English are regular. And the example is shout. So in the present tense, we're going to use a form of that verb. In the present, it's shout. In the past tense, we'll add a D or an ED to the present and turn it into the past tense, and that would be shouted. The past participle is also formed by adding a D or ED to the present form, and that would be shouted also. Now know that with the past participle we're using a helping verb. Some examples are have and has and had. Some forms of the verb be. And here's an example. Enough. You have shouted at me for 2 days already. Now the present participle is formed by adding ing to the present. So the present participle of shout is shouting. So let's review. We have the present form, the past participle, and the present participle. Shout is the present form, shouted is the past form, shouted is the past participle, which always uses a helping verb, and shouting is the present participle, which uses a helping verb. Now, the fact is that not all verbs are regular. So, after this lesson, we're going to learn about irregular verbs.